Welcome back to Nation of Glory. Today we bring you the story of a man who was larger than life inside the wrestling ring, a man whose intensity, power, and fearless attitude made him unforgettable in the world of professional wrestling. His name is Scott Steiner, but fans all around the world know him better as Scott Steiner. His story is more than just about championships and rivalries, it is about transformation, determination, and leaving behind a legacy that still echoes in the hearts of wrestling fans today. Scott Steiner was born on July 29, 1962, in Bay City, Michigan. From a very early age, he had a competitive spirit and energy that could not be contained. Growing up, Scott wasn't just strong physically, but also carried a burning desire to test his limits and prove himself. That desire first showed itself in amateur wrestling, where he built the foundation of what would become a legendary career. In school, and later at the University of Michigan, Scott developed his skills on the mat, earning accolades and respect as a collegiate wrestler. The amateur scene taught him discipline, perseverance, and mental toughness, qualities that would carry him into the world of professional wrestling. When Scott transitioned from amateur wrestling into professional wrestling, it was clear that he wasn't just another competitor. He had something unique, a combination of raw power, athleticism, and charisma. Fans quickly noticed that his style was explosive, and his moves were innovative. Scott Steiner had entered the spotlight, and soon, he would rise to become one of wrestling's most talked about stars. In the late 1980s, Scott joined forces with his brother, Rick Steiner, forming the tag team known as the Steiner Brothers. Together, they changed the tag team division forever. Rick brought his own fierce personality, while Scott brought speed, strength, and a level of technical skill that was unmatched at the time. Their chemistry was undeniable. The Steiner brothers quickly rose through the ranks, capturing tag team gold in multiple promotions, from WCW to WWF to Japan. They were more than champions, they were trailblazers, pushing the limits of what tag team wrestling could be. Fans admired their bond as brothers, their unique blend of intensity and respect for the sport, and their ability to deliver matches that people would talk about for years. Scott Steiner, however, was not destined to remain in the shadows of tag team success. As time went on, it became clear that he had the tools to break out as a singles competitor. His physique began to change as he pushed his training to extremes, developing a body that looked like it had been carved out of stone. His muscles, his size, and his athleticism created an image that was larger than life. This transformation would later give birth to his most famous persona, Big Poppa Pump. When Scott Steiner embraced this new character, he went from being an admired athlete to becoming a dominant force in wrestling. Big Poppa Pump wasn't just a nickname, it was an attitude. He was brash, outspoken, intense, and unapologetic. His promos became legendary, often unpredictable, and always entertaining. Fans never knew what Scott would say next, but one thing was certain: he demanded attention. Inside the ring, Scott's strength was unmatched. His moves, from the devastating Frankensteiner, a Hurricane Rana performed by a man of his size, something that shocked fans, to his brutal power slams and suplexes, showed that he could combine technical skill with raw force. He became a main event player in WCW, capturing the WCW World Heavyweight Championship and solidifying his place as one of the company's top stars. But like all great stories, Scott Steiner's journey was not just about victories and glory. It was also about struggle, controversy, and resilience. Wrestling is a demanding profession, and Scott endured his share of injuries and setbacks. His outspoken nature sometimes brought conflict with others in the industry, but Scott never wavered in being himself. Love him or hate him, you could not ignore him. That authenticity is one of the reasons why fans still remember him so vividly today. As Big Poppa Pump, Scott Steiner created moments that wrestling fans will never forget. His unique personality, his unpredictable interviews, his unmatched physique, and his willingness to push boundaries made him one of the most talked about figures of his era. Whether he was dominating opponents in the ring, calling out rivals on the microphone, or shocking the audience with his presence, Scott had a way of keeping people engaged. Even beyond his time in WCW, Scott continued to make an impact. He wrestled in WE, TNA, and across the independent scene, always bringing the same intensity that defined his career. No matter where he went, fans recognized his signature look: bleached blonde hair, dark sunglasses, massive arms, and that unstoppable confidence. For many fans, what made Scott Steiner special wasn't just the championships or the highlights, but the feeling he brought to the ring. Watching him was exciting, unpredictable, and sometimes even a little intimidating. He embodied the idea of a wrestler being larger than life, and he did it in a way that was uniquely his own. Outside the ring, Scott's journey also reflected the importance of family, loyalty, and reinvention. His bond with his brother Rick remained strong, and together they were honored as one of the greatest tag teams in wrestling history. Scott also showed resilience in adapting to the changes in the wrestling business, proving that no matter how the industry evolved, he would always leave a mark. Today, Scott Steiner is celebrated not just as Big Poppa Pump, not just as one half of the Steiner Brothers, but as a true legend of professional wrestling. His career spanned decades, influenced countless wrestlers who came after him, and gave fans memories that still bring smiles and goosebumps when they look back. For those who grew up watching him, Scott Steiner represents an era where wrestling was bold, colorful, and unforgettable. For new fans discovering him today, his legacy is a reminder that charisma, talent, and determination can make someone stand out forever. Scott's story is not just about wrestling, it's about the courage to reinvent yourself, the strength to overcome challenges, and the power of staying true to who you are. He showed the world that being different isn't a weakness, it's a strength. And in doing so, he carved his name into the history of professional wrestling forever. So as we look back on the journey of Scott Steiner, we don't just remember the muscles, the championships, or the wild promos. We remember a man who dared to be larger than life, who entertained millions, and who proved that passion and determination can take you to the very top. That is why his story deserves to be told, and why his legacy lives on in the Nation of Glory. Thank you for joining us today on Nation of Glory. If you enjoyed this story about the incredible career of Scott Steiner, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring journeys from the world of wrestling and Hollywood. Your support helps us keep bringing you the stories that matter, the stories that remind us of the legends who shaped the world of entertainment. Until next time, this is Nation of Glory, thanking you for watching.